あなたは今 J ロブの新しいドラムキットのプレビュートラックを聴いています。
Yo, hey, what's going on? How you doing, bro? What a pose!
Yes, totally.
Okay, we'll kick off with the record then.
Cool.
And you're talking about what are we playing here today?
We are on a Japanese city pop album.
Yeah.
Just a record I picked up. And why I wanted to do it in genre is because I think I talked about this in the talk as well.
Yeah.
Where, there's different cultures, there's a lot of remixing happening, right?
Yeah.
Like, I have this hot take of not inventing anything new.
Okay.
Like, I just feel like we're in this era where everything's been done.
Yeah.
And like, the only way to make something new is to invent is to remix, right?
Yeah.
So I think vinyls and having like physical records of these.
That's actually a pretty hot take, right? Like everything is inspired or like an inspiration of an inspiration.
Yeah.
What do you feel about that?
Yeah, I
okay,
think-
Armaan, what do you do like for the camera? Like,
We can get into it via
Yeah.
this conversation.
okay, sweet.
So what I want to do, right, is I think, as you said, get inspired, right? And not just sort of inspired to look at, but inspired from like histories, from cultures, from, what people have done, from how objects are shaped, what material they are, how long it took to develop a material, right? And then basically present it in a new context, right? And I think that's sort of what I've been doing, everything from what I do in my education in architecture to now, working with Samuel Ross or like starting my own studio in India, right? Where the whole idea is, to take something which exists, right? To rethink it,
Yeah.
and then reimagine it in a new space,
Yeah.
rebuild it there, and then see how people react to it,
Right.
For example, we built this toilet with cola,
Yeah.
right? It was like this
With what?
with cola,
Cola, okay, the company,
the
right.
toilet brand.
Yeah.
So we built like a tap and toilet,
Yeah.
and we're like, fuck it, what happens if we paint it orange?
Yeah.
What if we look at sort of mines and textures and replicate it on the toilet,
Yeah.
which we did, right? So we had this toilet,
Who was
which
this project with?
this was with SRA, so Samuel Ross Associates.
Okay. Okay.
So in collaboration with Cola,
Got it.
which is basically the structure that SRA works with.
Yeah.
And this is also the structure that I'm trying to bring in to India with Underbar.
Okay.
Right.
What is Underbar?
Underbar is the studio that I'm talking about that
Right.
I'm starting in India, or I've started in India.
Correct. You're doing, so from what I know, you're doing a 50-piece furniture collaboration of a furniture drop and a concrete house in Chandigarh.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay,
exactly.
sorry.
So those are the two things we started with.
Okay.
But the idea is to exist in a lot of different scales.
Okay.
So we're doing now jewelry, rugs. We're doing also like, when you do a photo shoot of something,
Right.
or like we're doing this, I also think of that as like a, different piece of design,
Correct.
right? So I think designing at different scales, even if it's like branding,
Yeah.
stuff like that. So coming back to SRA,
Yeah.
right? We do everything from sort of watches with Hublot,
Yeah. Okay.
toilets with Cola,
Right.
headphones with Beats.
Yeah.
So, a lot of different scales, like also like the Hublot headquarters, for example.
Okay.
So I think the entire idea is to latch onto a bigger company,
Right.
which has the expertise set up, which has, the infrastructure, and then
And you come on board as designers.
exactly, like
Yeah.
specialized design, you put out like a limited edition
Right.
piece, and that sort of creates culture and community.
Correct.
So from there, coming back to the Cola toilet that I was talking
Yeah.
about. So yeah, we made this sort of toilet. We did a lot of, it was like a 2-year process where, we looked at water flow
Yeah.
of the flush. We looked at surfaces. We looked at volumes. We looked at how it opens, how it closes. Cool, we have this toilet. Then we're like, cool, how are we going to display it, right? So we're like, shit, man, let's go all out. So what we did is we displayed this one toilet around this huge installation
Okay.
in like a old Milan palazzo.
Okay.
Design week,
Yeah.
Huge palazzo.
Right.
One toilet in the middle.
Yeah.
Orange pipes
Yeah.
going all the way around. That
Right.
was the installation. Like water flowing through it, and the whole floor is gravel.
Wow.
Huge space,
Yeah.
right? Looks cool. We're like, nice. And then this is
This was with Samuel Ross.
exactly.
Okay.
So black British artist in a white Milan space.
Yeah.
You know, me like, I see myself as like one of the only Indians out there, and this is
Correct.
also like a good thing because
I feel like we were talking about a myth earlier, and I feel like you're that myth.
what do you mean?
Because you never a boy from like Ludhiana sitting with like everybody in the fucking world, right? In the design space, you mentioned Rick Owens. Then I looked up Samuel Ross, like is apparently like so fucking big out there in the space, right?
Yeah.
So like for you were a myth for me. Like when I looked you up, I was like, okay, this guy is super interesting. How old are you?
I'm gonna turn 26 soon, bro.
Okay, sick, boy. Sick.
In January.
Yeah.
So super close. But no, man. I mean, it was all sort of really gradual.
Right.
You know. But the Milan space, just to finish that off,
Yeah.
like, then we crowded it up with DJs from London who like knew culture.
Yeah.
We invited like all the boys.
Yeah. Which DJs?
There's two people, Nossa and Kazim.
Okay.
Like boys from London doing amazingly well out there.
Yeah.
But also like culture,
Yeah.
community.
Right.
And bro, they like, this was like also when Kanye's album came out. So we playing like Carnival
Yeah.
with like all these old white people.
Yeah.
And they were loving it, you know?
yeah.
And I think that is the sort of juxtaposition I was talking about. Like,
Right.
making something and putting it in a new context. And like, I think that's exciting,
Yeah.
right? Like, you might invent something new or a new design and it, the rules, like you have to be like 12% different or something
Yeah.
for it not to be
Correct.
like legally. But I don't think that's exciting, right?
Right.
Because you try 5 years to make something different and
Yeah.
then you go back on history and archives and there's so many great minds and you realize, shit, man, this has already been done,
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's too similar to something that's been done or shit, like it's been thought of before. So I think the only way to invent, I'm not saying like there's no invention,
Yeah.
but like in the sense where inventing like a whole new thing,
Correct.
right? Inventing like a whole
Like
new
you don't even have to invent, right? Like it's more about innovation. Like what new can you add to like something
exactly
that already
yeah
exists?
because there's new context now, right?
Yeah.
Like there's social media, there's
Correct.
new stuff's changed after COVID, there's how people think,
Right.
what people value, so a
Yeah.
lot of shit's changed, so I think and also like the world's become smaller.
Yeah.
So I think designing or inventing, looking at that in mind,
Yeah.
will
I feel like social media is a very interesting topic when we talk about something like this because everybody has something to show when it comes to design. Like there is so much going on throughout the world and like people are iterating day in, day out, like making new things. But we'll come back to that. I wanna know more of like who you are, where you were born.
journey.
The journey,
Yeah.
man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bro, I was born in London,
Okay.
which didn't really matter because I came back to India when I was quite young. I was here till I was sort of
So you got that Brit passport. And then you came
yeah,
back,
that was sorted.
Yeah.
Good move,
Yeah.
Thank you, parents.
Right.
But no, I mean, half of my family's there.
Okay.
But no, I'm a true Punjabi at heart.
Yeah,
like
okay.
I did my formative years in Ludhiana.
Okay.
So yeah, I was here till I was like sort of 14, 15. Then I went to London to join a boarding school.
Okay.
And that was quite interesting because Ludhiana's a small city, like great city with sort of small mind. You're within the same bubble and, like there's only a certain extent you can go to.
You feel like bubbles form everywhere where you are?
Yeah, but I try and bounce a lot
Okay.
in bubbles. Like even with like the architecture bubble that was forming when I was in school,
Right.
I decided to do something completely different. So now I have a totally new bubble. But like I also, with the kind of jobs I do, which is like not one big job, but
Right.
a lot of little jobs.
Correct.
I have like these little bubbles,
Yeah.
rather than one big bubble that I
Right.
always see.
Yeah.
But I think the design world in itself is like, big bubble, which is
Yeah.
good. Because, like, for example, we're discussing lunch, right?
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
meeting the same people that
Exactly.
we might meet.
Exactly, but I understand
Individually.
what you say about like getting into different bubbles, right? Like I have a restaurant space bubble, I have a design bubble. Maybe now I soon should be a part of a podcasting bubble,
Yeah, yeah.
if that exists,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
it keeps you going. Like you're not. It's not the same monotonous routine that you have. Like you keep when people ask me what I do, like I do a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like when it comes podcasting, content, restauranting. It's just that I can't stick to like one thing. So I
Yeah.
understand where you.
Yeah, exactly. And they overlap. You know,
Exactly.
like
It's
we're
all
here.
cross culture.
Yeah.
It's
No,
flexibility.
Exactly. I think the overlap is also like where you realize like how different systems can collaborate with each other,
Right.
right? Where a restaurant can collaborate with an architect, or
Correct.
where a
A
Jew.
restaurant can collaborate with a podcast or with an architect.
Exactly.
You know what
Exactly.
I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that's
You
interesting.
know, and I think that's also like what I'm aiming to do.
Okay. So coming back to your story. Okay, you moved.
Cool.
Yeah.
Moved to London,
Yeah.
which was eye-opening because this was like a super international boarding school. Like I think 5% British people,
Yeah.
not
Right.
including me,
Okay.
right? Which is crazy, right?
Yeah.
Because I had never been in a space with so many different nationalities
Right.
or cultures at one point,
Correct.
right? You had, I don't know, Russians, Indians, you
Yeah.
had
What boarding school
Europeans.
is this?
This was Seven Oaks.
Okay.
You had Europeans, Americans, whatever, everywhere,
Yeah.
right? And I think that was sort of, and I was always into art. I was doing my thing, and I was sort of the only guy in the boarding house, you know,
Yeah.
doing art. So the kind of conversations I had with people were a little bit different than
Yeah.
what they had with each other,
Right.
So I used to talk about, you know, music or hip hop or, you know, art or like architecture from their country. So, you
Yeah.
know, I was like, shit, man, there's a lot to see.
Correct.
And that was the sort of first years that I actually started traveling a lot as well.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, that
How
changes.
old were you when this was happening?
This was like 16, 17-ish,
okay.
right? Yeah, you see new things, bro. You see, like, you
see
hear
the
new
world,
music, you know, and you're like, nah, this is the space I want to be in. But how can I be directly involved in the world without, you know, having like a big backing,
Yeah.
without like opening stores everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think so design and also collaboration was like a natural way to get into it.
Right.
Because that's where the small bubble comes in, right? And I think that's what's nice about design world is that no matter where you are in the world, Tokyo, LA, London, Paris, Berlin, India, Delhi, wherever, right? Your circle is still small, and this is the way you travel the world.
Yeah.
So like we made Milan feel like it's London, you know, or like home.
Yeah.
Like when we go to Tokyo and we know like a few people and a few places and we're like a bunch of 10 people, we're like, shit, this is home, you know? And that's only because of the design circle and because we
How
relate.
long do you usually stay at these places for?
Depends. Milan was like 10 days. Tokyo depends, like once we went on like a teaching course there.
Right.
So that was like a month. Then we did like building in like a hillside.
Yeah. So
in-
okay, or you were when you say we, you were working with like different people throughout.
Yeah, I
throughout
mean,
this,
we,
right?
I say because like it's never alone.
Yeah,
you know,
okay.
like I don't think I've done anything alone. Yeah, like nothing.
Yeah.
And
And
I think-
also you're in your formative stage of building something out of yourself, because right now is the time you've actually started your personal brand, like
Yeah.
a brand that you actually started. Before this, you were working with like the top architectural agencies in the world. Is Stella,
I
what does Stella
never-
McCartney do?
Stella McCartney is a fashion brand.
Okay,
It's a women's luxury conscious fashion brand.
Okay.
I never actually went into architecture.
Right.
I think the pace was a little bit too slow for me.
Yeah.
You know, I am doing architecture. I am building a house in India,
Correct.
but you see that's taken me 4 years.
Yeah.
And like it's not complete yet.
Yeah. Okay.
And that stresses me out.
Because also you have like a lot of things going on the side as well. Right?
Yeah.
Not on the side, but like this is going on the side. You have like an actual job and like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have 3 jobs.
Yeah.
Like sort of full time, which I'm balancing around.
Okay.
Complicated, but like we're solving them, and then
Right.
then there's all the other stuff that comes in.
Yeah.
But I think having people on, as I said, like I never work alone, is important, and is also like useful, right? It's also quite nice to have
More minds.
expertise and minds. Like even now, when I work with somebody, it's not just somebody. It'll be like somebody who is an expert.
Correct.
For example, this jewelry collection that I'm building with
Yeah.
Underbar.
Okay.
I have no idea. I have an idea about what I want to do, but I have no
Right.
idea how to do jewelry.
Yeah.
So I got 2 people involved. One is ex Louis Vuitton jewelry, fine
Okay.
jewelry.
Interesting.
And then the other one sort of models really, really amazingly, like game characters and stuff,
Okay.
right? So you get a little idea what it is, but it's still like really great minds from 2,
And what is that
fields.
process like? Like when you're collaborating with, say the base of what you've learned and the knowledge that you have is architecture.
Yeah.
But like that's design again, right? So like
Yeah.
how do you go about like building these things out?
Well, that's the thing. Like I never went into.
Is it like Rick Rubin, like when you come into a room and you're like, hey, this is my taste and there's something that I want to put out?
Yeah, I think there's something to do with taste.
Right.
But I think there's more to do with so like I didn't develop like a brand identity.
Okay.
Even for Underbar, like I was never like this is gonna be Underbar.
Yeah.
How it works is
What does underbar mean?
it doesn't mean anything.
Okay.
We'll get into sort of
Okay.
the etymology of it and what it can be.
Yeah.
But with Underbar, what I said is we're never gonna develop like an identity
Yeah.
because then you're stuck to it, right? Then your next project is trying to fit into that identity,
Correct.
which is just like then you've thrown away like 90% of what could be possible.
Yeah.
So I think I'm trying to build the identity via the best projects we can do,
Okay.
right? So let's say name something random, like I don't know,
A chair?
a chair.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. We're gonna make a chair. We're gonna have 100 iterations,
Right.
right? And we're gonna see what's best in terms of narrative, design, material,
Yeah.
comfort, and we're gonna choose that thing and see where maybe in the journey
Yeah.
we have unconsciously or subconsciously like put in a little bit of our character,
Correct.
and that's going to add to the identity. So if you look at the website right now,
Yeah.
it's basically a bunch of images floating around. You can
Okay.
play with them, make
Yeah.
them big, small, whatever.
Yeah.
Because like we don't know what the identity is.
Correct.
Right? So it's going to be a collection. It's going to be a collective memory kind of thing, right? Where there's ideas or little moments or fragments from each
Yeah.
project that you see that form this identity.
Yeah.
And like when people see the website, they're like, "Oh, we can see you in it." And I was like, I don't know how. Even like when I post like a random story, they're like, "Oh, that's so you."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Fuck, man, I don't know how."
I feel like once you develop an identity and like I feel like in this world we have to be like so flexible, like you can keep changing your identity every 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, bro, this is why I have like 0 posts on Instagram.
Right.
Like it's too scary.
Yeah.
you
What
know?
do you feel about Instagram in general to like put your design and
Yeah, I think it's
your work out?
crazy. I don't think I understand it much right
Yeah.
now. I don't think anybody does.
fair, but the kind of work that you do does require a lot of eyeballs. And I
Yeah.
feel like you've been in the right spaces so that the work gets seen.
Yeah.
But for a lot of people, that's not the case, right? Like you've been in the best rooms in the world, like when
Yeah.
it comes to design. And for a lot of people, that's not the case. They only have, say, social media to put their work out.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. It's actually a good point to maybe go back on the journey.
Okay.
Because, like, I don't have any posts. I'm
Yeah.
not, like, active on social media,
Yeah.
right? But, and even with Underbuy, I don't post anything.
Yeah.
But I still get messages like, "Oh, your work really inspires me," and I'm like, "What fucking work, bro?
Yeah.
Like, where do you see my work?"
Yeah.
It scares me when people are like, "I saw your work,"
Yeah.
and I was like, "Shit, man, where?"
Yeah.
Because I haven't really put anything out there that is like
Has your name
title
on it.
work,
Exactly.
or like capital W
Yeah.
work.
Till like now, till like you did the Raihan show.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, there's a few things here and there,
Yeah.
but like, again, like I didn't really make a post about it or anything. It's
Right.
just like it's there. Go see it.
Yeah.
Tell me what you think, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
So it's always like work with a small W.
Right.
Even with architecture. Who said this? I think. Oh fuck. there was somebody, I think it was Jack Self,
Okay.
in, oh no, it was Rory, another guy, same, bold, tall, I confuse them, from AA, from my university,
Right.
who was like, yeah, I see what you're doing, like it's architecture with like a small A, you know?
What
So
does
it's not
that
like
mean?
capital A architecture.
Right. Okay, I get it.
Because that makes shit serious, you know, like
Correct.
I'm an architect.
Yeah.
And like this
Is
is
that
what I do.
lowercase energy?
Yeah, lowercase energy.
Yeah, I get it.
If you see underbar as well, everything's lowercase.
Yeah.
I don't put anything like
uppercase.
because then like you're sort of
I think the
officializing
world can
it.
be segmentized into two sorts of people: the uppercase and the lowercase. Like I feel like that's the new age world now.
Yeah, that's true, man.
Right?
Yeah, you could.
Yeah.
You could. Because uppercase is like the official scary shit,
Correct.
you know? And the lowercase is like,
Keep it chill.
keep it chill
Keep it
guy,
calm,
you know,
yeah.
having fun with this kind of
Yeah.
thing. And I think that's really where like innovation, experimentation, play, right? That's where play
Correct.
can happen.
Yeah.
But like you can't write play with capital letters. It's just like, I don't know.
You said something interesting during our panel. You said your third generation Virgil Abloh.
Yeah.
Tell me more about what
No,
that
okay,
means.
so no, we go back to the journey. Cause,
Okay, go back. Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, so Seven Oaks was great, you know, saw that the world is bigger than Ludhiana or
Yeah.
London, you know,
Yeah.
which was great.
Yeah.
Then I joined the AA, the Architectural Association, not Alcoholics. And again, like super international,
Yeah.
met like even more people than I did before, you
Right.
know. And this is like specialized architecture. So everybody has like super interesting takes.
Yeah.
I just came there to make like good looking things.
Correct.
Then I learned, you know, there's so much more to it.
Correct.
There's community, there's culture, there's politics, there's histories, there's, you know, there's so much more to
Correct.
value and learn. And so that really changed, you know, the way I looked at everything.
That's a very interesting take because I was reading about last Thursdayism. You know this theory?
No.
That like everything in the world started last Thursday,
Okay.
which was such
Tell
an
me.
interesting take. It says that everything else is a formed memory, and these are things that you've been told, but like it's something that can't be proved wrong. I'm not saying it's right, but like everything started last Thursday, so everything that exists is either in the present or in the near future or the near past.
Okay.
Nothing else exists.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like design, when you're like, hey, like there's so much history and politics and like so many things, it's a little more fun to be in your own bubble and be like, hey, what I've made is trash.
Yeah, I
Maybe.
see that. I see
Yeah,
that. No, I
yeah.
see that. I'm trying to think about it,
Yeah.
but I think this may be for like a longer
Right.
discussion at some point. Everything was invented last Thursday.
Last Thursday.
Okay. Cool. No, I mean, interesting take. I think, where were we? Sorry. I lost track of after the last Thursday thing.
right? It gets into your head. But we were at you exploring design, culture, community.
Cool.
Once you
At the
reached
AA.
it,
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that sort of really changed my mind in terms of, you know, what I want to do.
Yeah.
Because the idea was like, get a London stamp, you know, AA stamp, go
Correct.
back, make houses kind of thing in India, big houses. And it's like, nah, like, you can be so much more, you know, involved in actually the design landscape, right? Like, people don't see you for what you make or what you know, who you are in your profession.
Correct.
You know, in certain circles in London, or
Yeah.
in certain circles in the design world, in the design landscape, they see you for like who you are, right?
Okay.
Who you like,
Oh,
or what
who
you like.
Or
What you like, sorry.
Okay.
So like, you know, like you're asking me about the vinyls and, you know, like where I got those from and what I eat or what I
Yeah.
drink, you know.
Right.
And I think that tells you more about me than me being like, I'm an architect.
Fair, of course.
You know what I
Your
mean?
inspirations.
Yeah.
Right.
And if I tell you I'm an architect with a lower case A,
Yeah.
not like verbally, but like in some way,
Yeah.
you know, that would encourage you to ask me more questions about like, what is the most interesting project you've done,
Right.
or what is the most fun you've had, or who's the coolest client you've worked with,
Yeah.
or what do you want to do in the future,
Right.
And I feel like when somebody comes to you like, I'm an architect with a capital A,
Yeah.
it's like, shit, how much money do you make, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Not even that. Like, I associate that person with a certain identity, which is
Yeah.
right. But like, again, my first question won't be about how much money you make.
But you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that sort of
yeah, yeah.
energy where
Yeah,
it's like
correct.
official stuff.
Yeah.
Like, hey, how much is your rate?
Yeah.
Or like, hey, like, what project can we work on?
Yeah.
Or who have your clients been?
Correct.
Or how much do you charge? This kind of things,
Yeah.
right? So, and I think that's allowed me to, as I said, like
Yeah.
be in a lot of the circles
Correct.
and like work with a lot of people because
Yeah.
they work in the same way,
Yeah.
right? Like nobody's a designer with a capital D,
Yeah.
right? And this is also maybe where, I don't know exactly, but I think this is also where the quote's coming from.
Yeah.
With Off-White and everything, where it's just like architect.
Correct.
It's like, yeah, but like not really kind of thing. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Yeah, yeah.
This is what I always took it as.
Like a little not anti-establishment, but like just like for the culture more than like
yeah,
the word.
pseudo-establishment.
Exactly.
Right? Like not being too precious with it.
or pressured.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pressured or precious.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
We're changing the side.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
It's like a gold side.
Yeah.
I think also like with Donda, with Yeezy, with Alaska, with SRA. I think they're all trying to do work in a similar sort of space
Right.
where like you need to be respected, right, in each sort of scale and field, but also like you need to have fun.
Correct.
Because imagine like coming into the watch world where it's like, the watch world's like quite like, oh, you're wearing this or you're wearing that.
Yeah.
Like this
What do you feel about the watch world? Because I feel like, hey man, like I'm wearing an Apple Watch.
Yeah.
I usually wear Casio's, not even an Apple
Yeah.
Watch. Yeah.
I mean, I think again, we're calling it the watch world because it is a world
It is
in
a
its
world.
own, right? And I think the fact that we work with Hublot was a little bit in the middle of the two worlds.
We is you and Samuel Ross.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because with Hublot, like they're watch brand, of course, they make beautiful watches, but they're not like the watch world, like Rolex, where there's like a lot of demand and
Yeah.
there's not a lot of like,
A different sort of
economics.
signal.
Yeah.
Yeah, when it comes to a Rolex.
Yeah, because like with Hublot, their motto is, I think, the art of fusion.
Yeah.
Right. So they're already saying that we're playing with art, we're doing a lot of play, we're like collaborating, and there's so much to do with collaboration and like what you can do and what's possible.
Correct.
So I think it was a different approach
Yeah.
that Samuel took to collaborate with Hublot, which was great.
What
But I
do you
think
feel about the Jacob & Co collaboration with Salman Khan? You know that
seen
happened,
that.
right?
No,
Yeah, so
I haven't
that's
seen that.
like it confuses me a bit, like the watch world. Like, what is he
Bro,
going on?
but I think that's where the fun happens.
Yeah.
This is what I mean about
What
like,
does Salman Khan have to do with a watch? Is what I want to understand. Apart from like some sort of
well, his
signal.
wrist is iconic. No,
Fair.
no, like
Yeah, with the
imagine. I don't know what the watch looks like, but imagine they did like a Tiffany dial with his sort of stone
Yeah,
and like a little bit loose.
Yeah.
And like I don't know, like white gold.
yeah.
That'd be iconic.
That's interesting.
That's what I'm
interesting
thinking.
take. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
like a direct but indirectly
Right.
fun. I don't know.
Yeah, like,
I don't know
like,
that.
I like how you think.
Yeah, but I think that's like where this bridge between India and like the new India and
Correct.
like also like what exists in the West and
Yeah.
like what's happening there can.
It's big, right? Like the involvement now, like I feel like since in the post-COVID era, like it's time for, it's the new brown era, right? Like it's South Asians taking over the world, yeah.
Yeah, I hope there's more. I mean, there will be, but I wish there's just like more that happens currently because
Yeah.
in London like the black space is so powerful.
Yeah.
Like everybody is for everybody, which is so amazing to see.
Yeah.
And like there's also this element of like them first, within your community, which is fine, right? Like which
What does that mean?
as in like there's black grants by black artists.
Yeah.
Right. There's black jobs.
Okay, supporting each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
You know,
in the community.
but there's not many brown,
Correct.
you know, grants or jobs specifically for brown
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
The thing I've seen is we're literally brown, right?
Yeah.
We're right in the middle of black and white because for us, like, especially, I'm just talking about in London,
Right.
you're either with a white person or with a black person, right? Like, you're never like, and like people are building communities, you know, like Dai Parata, for example,
Correct.
or like Suk.
Yeah.
So there are communities, right? But I think this needs to come down from a bigger artist or, you know, money level
Correct.
where they can actually
did that
mentor and
happen
support
with
you.
the black community?
Yeah,
as
yeah,
well? Okay.
100%.
Yeah.
That's what happens, you know, like one onto the other, to the other, to the other. Like the same thing with, you know, Kanye, Virgil, Samuel,
Okay.
you know, and like there are people that sort of Samuel supports and brings on, which is not me because I am community, but I'm not
Community.
you know what I mean? Like, I'm within the design circle and the design community, but I'm not part of the cultural community.
Yeah.
So there is a
Okay.
disconnect,
Fair.
and I just wish that somebody picks that up. Because,
But
like,
that's
for
odd,
example,
right? In India, you tend to like give preference to people from different communities, and like you give them a little more respect than you would give your own associate here.
yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
Which is not how it happens. Is what I'm trying to say,
Exactly.
right? Like, for example, an artist like Anish Kapoor, biggest fucking name
Yeah.
in art.
Yeah.
In London as well. I think he has a studio in London.
Okay.
Haven't ever seen him.
Yeah.
Haven't ever met him.
Yeah.
Haven't ever had a message of appreciation.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
this is what I'm saying. Like, obviously, like, who am I, right?
Yeah.
But also people who are doing super well from the brown community, right? People who've been around for like 4 or 5 years.
So you say
or-
Brown doesn't support Brown?
I mean, it does, but not to
It
the
does.
extent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't feel like they want to grow as a community. They want to grow more as individuals.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I feel like we've been made to grow up in a society where one person needs to eat the other up to be successful.
Yeah,
It's
which
not
is
like-
crazy.
Yeah, it's not
Which
like
is crazy.
everyone rises and everyone grows together.
But which is crazy.
Yeah.
I don't think that's how it should be, though.
Yeah.
I think it would be actually so much nicer
Yeah.
if it was the other way.
Yeah, Pranay, can you give me a vape? Thanks.
Can you give me some water, actually?
Yeah, sure.
Well, we're in different health journeys. So
Yeah.
that's okay.
Clearly.
But no, like, thank you. But for example, bro, like, you know this artist Sloan?
Yeah.
You know Clint
No.
from Portiers,
No.
clothing brand.
Not sure.
Anyways, like
Yeah.
big clothing brand in London, community, culture, Samuel, blah, blah, blah. Everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
Like, these are like Virgil's boys, and like, they all support each other. Now they're
Yeah.
like biggest, sort of earning millions kind of thing, right?
Right.
So yeah, there's Sloan, who's an artist. There's Clint, and then, you know, they're in music videos with Skepta. Skepta's shouting them out,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and Skepta's big.
Septa is fucking you.
Yeah, he's huge,
Yeah.
right? And of course, these guys are like huge as well, but they also like they weren't huge at some point. You know,
Okay.
they were like us. They were approachable. They were whatever, but and they still are. They still are. But the fact that he was able to, you know, be like, this is my community. This is my culture.
Yeah.
Do it. This is their names.
Right.
Shout them out in a
Yeah.
song, or like C just texted. You know, and people know who C is
Yeah.
because of what he's done
Yeah.
for them, and like they know that he hangs out with them, pictures, blah blah, blah whatever. This is big, right? And this is also
See,
something.
you mean like Central C?
No, C is like Clint at this point.
Okay,
But
okay.
also like Central C, for example, boys with them,
Yeah.
shouts them out, you
Yeah.
know, whatever. Diljit came to London,
Yeah.
and we were talking to like his manager, blah blah. Okay, like we're gonna go meet him.
Yeah.
You know this artist Navinder Nangla?
No.
He makes like graffiti.
Okay.
Okay, so we were like, and then this guy Rav, cloth surgeon.
Yeah.
We're like, cool, let's get in a car, let's go meet him.
Yeah.
You know, we're like we're
boys from the
pushing,
pen, bro.
yeah,
Yeah,
we're
we're all
pushing
from the
this
pen.
brown shit. He's pushing,
Yeah.
obviously different levels, but we're all pushing it, and I'm
Yeah.
sure he's wants to meet us in the, like I sorted a lot of his clothes out for the tour.
Sick.
And then Nav made like a little piece for him, and Rav made a little piece for him, and it's like cool. Let's go see him.
Yeah.
Like he'll be so happy to see us.
Yeah.
Bro, no,
No?
like
No?
didn't see us. Like sorry, like turn the car around.
Do you think that's the management
Yeah,
issue? 'Cause-
probably.
Yeah,
probably.
probably.
I'm not
right,
blaming Diljit. I'm just saying like,
Because Karthik happened to meet him
yeah.
recently and like
Exactly,
did a small
with-
collaboration, and he said like he was one of the most wonderful people that he's met.
Yeah, and he's from Ludhiana, bro.
Yeah.
All of that's good. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like, the fact that we have to go through like 10 layers of management and then
Yeah.
like be rejected and like be played around with like, yes, come, he's here, he's at the hotel, he's waiting for you, or like, oh no, he's not, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, we're busy, man.
Yeah.
We're not like, we are fanboys, we're not really fanboys,
Yeah, we're people from the culture, we're people from
Yeah,
the community.
we're
that you
fans of
resonate, yeah.
what's been done and what can be done, and
Yeah.
like I wasn't there to like be like, oh my god, I love your music, and
Yeah,
like
no
sign
shit.
my chest
Yeah.
kind of shit.
Yeah.
It was more like, what can we do?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And like, you don't have to do that with Skepta if you're a black artist.
Correct.
You can
You're
pull
already
up.
accepted.
Yeah, you can pull up. You can be like, yo, Skeps,
Yeah.
da 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 da,
Yeah.
da da da. This is. He's like, yeah, cool, man. This is
Yeah.
this my number. Hit me up. Kind of
It's not like this here, like at all. Like people, even if they haven't made as much impact in their lives, they still act a little unapproachable.
Bro, but that's crazy.
That's crazy,
Like,
right?
for me, I answer, like, I have 0 unopened messages.
Okay.
Requests, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah,
0.
yeah. No, I speak to everyone. I wouldn't say I have 0 unopened requests or messages because I'm just bad at texting. But
Yeah.
like I'd speak to anyone who.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
don't know what you mean.
Yeah.
But, like, for me, like, that's, like, priority.
Yeah.
0 unopened.
Okay.
And, like, it's everywhere from, like, kids. Like, there was a guy who hit me up
Okay.
who was, like, in 11th grade. I didn't know this.
Yeah.
So he's like, hey, like, I saw you mentioned on, I think, the Die Prata post, and can we talk? I really want to talk. I'm really unclear about what I want to do. And I was like,
Yeah.
cool, let's go for it.
Yeah.
And like, so I gave him a time. I was waiting, and like he was a little bit late, and he came, and he's like sweating.
Yeah.
And he's in a school uniform, you
Okay,
know.
no way.
And you know you
Here,
recognize
here,
in India.
In India, okay.
And you recognize the school uniform,
Yeah,
you know, because
yeah.
it's like the white shirt and
Yeah.
the tie and the
The
matching
logo,
sweater
yeah,
and
yeah.
the blazer.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, you okay, bro? What's up?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I just had to rush from school because obviously, like, I'm in 11th grade, phones aren't allowed. I was like, no, man, take your time. You know, we sat down. He's like, I don't know English. I was like, that's fine, bro. Like, let's go. So yeah, we're talking. And
Which city was this?
so he is from Ahmedabad.
Okay.
I was in London.
Okay.
This is like not in person, Zoom.
Okay. Got it.
And he's asking me like random questions about life, and and I try to answer all of them. Obviously,
Yeah.
there's like a big disconnect between like what he thinks I do, what I do,
Yeah.
and what he wants to do, and how he's set up, and where he wants to go, kind
Yeah.
of thing. But still, and then now he reacts and messages to every single thing I do.
Yeah.
And I think being approachable in that sort of way
Yeah.
has helped me so much because yes, friends,
Yeah.
but like when a random person tells you like
Yeah.
love your shit kind of thing,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
100%. And it also, I feel like speaking with everyone just opens your space for collaboration a little bit more. Like you just
Yeah.
understand people's perspectives, even because you never know like how collaborations come through, right? Like
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
end of the day,
exactly.
It's all about like having more conversations, talk to people.
100%,
Yeah.
100%. But with collaborations, people tend to talk to people who they want to collaborate with, or
Right.
like on the same level, a little bit like plus minus 1 or 2
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like being comfortable talking to extremes.
Yeah.
And this is also like how I think I've managed to get what I've got,
Yeah. Or like it also comes from places where you don't feel threatened at all. Like if
Yeah.
say
Yeah,
a
yeah.
big brand in India collaborating with artisans from
Yeah.
Rajasthan, they're not threatened by their position because they don't hold as much, say, capital or like societal value.
Yeah.
You don't know the artisan that's making
Yeah.
a piece of cloth, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, that's true. I think not. Also, like, it doesn't matter even if you do, right? Like, the first time I talked to Samuel,
Yeah.
well, not the first time. Like, the first time I talked to him about the job,
Right.
I went to like a public event
Right.
where he was hosting like a tea ceremony,
Yeah.
and I was like, Samuel. He's like, oh, what can I sign? I was like, nah, don't sign anything, bro. Like, sign the contract.
Yeah.
And he's like, who the fuck are you? And I was
Yeah.
like, Armaan. He's like, oh shit, yeah, man, I'm gonna do it. And then 2 days later, I had the job.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
and like, I was a little drunk, I think, as well.
Yeah.
But like, you know, like if
It worked out.
yeah, it worked. You know,
Yeah.
like, you just had to you just have to say it,
Correct.
or like you just have to sort of, I don't know, be in the moment and just
Yeah.
like know that
It's
it
all
doesn't
about-
really matter. You know, like everybody's
Exactly.
human in some
Correct.
sort of way, and I think that comes even with, as I said, like people who you don't really think that can help you, but are asking for help from you, and I
Yeah.
think that's quite nice to do because, for example, there was this guy in Paris.
Okay.
He was like, "Hey man, I follow you for a long time. Number one, why?
Yeah.
Right? That always surprises me because again, like 0 posts. I don't know
Correct.
why. But anyway, he's like, yeah, I see you're like here. Can I come see you in Paris?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I'm here like for another 5-6 hours.
Right.
I'm catching like a Eurostar back to London. Come, but it's like raining heavy. So I was like, I'm at this museum. I was at the Arab World Institute. And he's like, cool, I'm coming. And he cycles, heavy
Yeah.
rain,
Yeah.
drenched,
Yeah.
finds me, and my phone's off at this point. He comes and he finds me in the building. And he's like, yo, like blah, blah. And like, he's using like the last sort of 2 hours I have in Paris, which is great. Like we're having an amazing conversation. And he's like, tell me this, like, I'm super confused. Tell me where I should go next, what I should do.
Yeah.
I told him 2 firms.
Yeah.
He applied to both of them.
Yeah.
And they weren't like firms, they were more like studios.
Today.
And he got into one of them. And he's been working there for 6 months, I think, now.
Wow.
And like he texts me, bro, every month being like, this is what I did this month. I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
This is what I did. This is how it's been. It's like, fuck, man. Like,
I
you're
want
able
to come to the real questions
Yeah.
in terms of like, say, who are the coolest 3 people you've been in rooms with?
The coolest 3 people I've been in rooms with.
Yeah.
Shit. I mean, obviously Samuel
Yeah.
is one of them. I'd say another super cool person is actually, there's a lot of academics
Right.
from AA who I really respect. There's a guy who taught me called Shinigashira.
Okay.
Crazy guy.
Right.
I think he was great.
Tell me more about his work.
Well, his work isn't as interesting as him.
Okay.
It is directly
Right,
him.
right.
But what I meant is I think you would understand more if I talk about him
Yeah.
rather than his work because
Correct.
that maybe goes too deep in the whole. But like nobody knows how old this guy is.
Yeah.
Amazing line of thought.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand how he thinks.
Right.
It's like jumping onto one thing from the other, making a relation,
Yeah.
a new context,
Right.
flipping something, thinking about the opposite, adding something in, subtracting something, continuing with it. Like it's crazy. The way he
Right.
thinks is like, it's like a abstract painting. It's crazy. So he's this Japanese professor who teaches at the AA. He's been teaching, master sort of wood, craftsman, metal. And yeah, just like, I think he was quite interesting to be in a room with.
Okay.
Great mind to be in a room with.
Right.
Because I think great
Lot to
minds, sorry?
A lot to learn.
Lot to learn, lot to unlearn as
Okay.
well.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, what he used to say. Like, to understand him, you need to
Right. Let go of the
unlearn,
strings. Yeah.
unlearn whatever you've
Correct.
learned. Because otherwise, you have this filter which you're never going to learn
Exactly.
from him. I think Samuel, I've learned a lot from, just because, like, it's a whole different world.
Correct.
Like they're kind of the opposite, like Shin and Samuel, because Samuel's sort of very real world based and like he knows exactly how to navigate, super calculated.
Right.
Shin's the opposite, like very experimental,
Yeah.
very like
Abstract.
doesn't acknowledge the real world exists.
Right.
You know, third person's tough, man. To put them in with these two.
Yeah.
But I can come back to it.
Okay, come back to it.
I'm not trying to think, but I'll come back to it.
Okay, you go for it. What do you feel about like the Indian landscape when it comes to like architecture and design?
So, have you ever been to the ID fair?
No, not yet. But we're doing a pop-up this time with them.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, ID, you get to really see the Indian landscape.
Yeah,
In my opinion, I'm not a big architect in India,
got it.
but I think it's a little bit confused.
Okay.
There's a very strong push on luxury,
Yeah.
right? Where you have like these marbles and gold trims and, it's quite loud.
Yeah.
Chandeliers.
Because India's a society about like more about signaling than like, carrying
feelings.
feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, which I think is not really Indian architecture.
Okay.
Like you look at Indian architecture historically, you look at landscape, landscaping in houses, you look at how houses were laid out. A lot to do with like feeling and family and, community cooking.
Yeah.
You had like the courtyards where, like when you look at like an old Indian movie or even like a new Indian movie and they show like an old Indian house.
Yeah.
And like you really feel like a sense of family, right? There's like somebody looking over. There's like the grandma sort of preparing spices in the courtyard.
Yeah.
There's smells that transfer.
Correct.
Anyways, that's like a very generic one.
Right.
But like the idea of sort of water, the idea of sunlight, the idea of, Indian summers and winters and how house should naturally be balancing this.
Right.
I think all of that is like, maybe because it's easier just to have like an AC.
Correct.
Right? It's easier just to have like automatic doors or whatever.
Yeah.
That manual feeling of like wood being sort of like stuck when it's hot.
Yeah.
I like that, when like rain falls on your patio and like some of it splatters into your house. You see like little drops and then, your granite tile has like a little bit of black in it because of the rain.
Correct.
For me, like that's architecture,
Yeah.
right? For me, like that's where your house is living as you do.
Yeah.
Like, bro, in a very weird way, imagine if like since birth, you had no illness.
Okay.
Would you feel human?
Not at all.
No, right? It'd be like, it'd be
Okay,
a
so
bit
you're
weird.
saying imperfections is
Yeah, like a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
you
Even
have
like,
that character, right?
yeah, like also like a faded hoodie is way better than a clean Zara hoodie.
Yeah.
Like even your t-shirt,
Yeah.
my hoodie, like
Yeah, it's
a little faded,
Yeah.
a little worn, little like custom according to like the shape and
Correct.
there's like little imperfections. And I think
Yeah.
this is what's really inspiring. Like nobody in India knows about Studio Mumbai.
Okay.
Do you know Studio Mumbai?
I don't.
Crazy. You see what I
Right.
mean? Outside of India,
Yeah.
design, you ask Studio Mumbai,
Yeah.
people are fucking mental for it.
And it's based in Bombay.
Yeah, Studio
Okay.
Mumbai, bro.
Okay. Okay. And
Like-
what do they do?
They're architects,
Okay.
but the houses that they make, so I've heard they're not long lasting or whatever,
Yeah.
but it makes you feel, right? Like they're in all my mood boards because even if you have to build something which is like more sort of sustainable or something which will last for a longer time,
Yeah.
using them in mood boards for the feel,
Yeah.
for how it feels to be in that space, for how the atmosphere of the space is, how the materials, dialogue with each other.
Right.
I think they're great, and I think that's sort of what architecture needs to be. And I think I don't know how it's going to change. Individually, I think I'll try and do my best in my projects.
Right.
But again,
Do you want to be in India for, say, the next few years?
I don't want to be anywhere like permanently.
Okay.
I think it's always going to be like bouncing from one place to the other kind of
Right.
thing.
Now, what do you exactly do when it comes to work? Because what were you doing for Stella McCartney, say?
So I I'm the architect for all the stores globally.
Okay.
So everything from visual merchandising to pop-ups to installations to maintenance of old stores to revamping old stores to new stores to new identities for architecture.
Yeah.
Sort of everything.
Okay, sick.
Yeah.
And what are you doing with the new collaboration that you're actually working on, which is completely different from what you've done in the past?
You mean with Underbar?
With Underbar.
With Underbar, it's a similar structure to SRA.
Okay.
But it's with Indian brands.
Okay.
Not necessarily Indian brands as well, but Indian people.
Okay.
It could be a British brand being run by an Indian or whatever.
Yeah, fair. So you actually going to push out like the community aspect that you were talking about earlier.
Exactly.
Which is not happening.
Thing is, I don't have big funding.
Yeah.
Started it with zero.
Yeah.
On my own. Whatever the company earns goes back into the studio, not even company.
Right.
So what I try and do, and the way of collaboration, is let's say we're working on a project. Let's say it's like a new vinyl player for genre.
Sure.
I think there'll be like 4 people to this project. It'll be me.
Yeah.
It'll be you. So nobody's really the client.
Correct.
The client's like whoever sees it.
Do you know of Vivix?
Yeah.
They do interesting stuff.
Yeah. Super nice stuff, right? So let's say him, right, as a consultant.
Yeah.
And let's say the person who actually manufactures this stuff,
Correct.
right?
Right.
So let's say we all in a discussion where you think, okay, like this will take 10% from me.
Right.
To, be in my space, test it out in my space, test out my vinyls, test it out to my customer base. We're like, cool, okay. Underbar, I think we can also do with 10 because we're going to be designing it, but we're not going to be really building it. And then, other people come out and they're like, okay, like production will cost a lot to actually make it, so we're going to take 50%.
Right.
We're like, cool. And then, somebody else, consultant comes in like, yeah, we'll take 5% just to like guide you guys through it.
Yeah.
Cool. Now, everybody's putting in either a little bit of time or a little bit of money.
Correct.
Nobody's putting in everything.
Yeah.
Right? And also what this does is then everybody has a little bit of say about, how
What
we're
the product
marketing
should
it,
be,
what are we doing,
Correct.
what's it called, what's it named, what's the price. And we will actually be able to do it, right? If I start designing something, you're like, cool, this is how we should do it, blah, blah, and then somebody starts manufacturing it. Let's say we sell it for X amount, and we all take a little percentages off of it.
Yeah.
Bro, that product at least is made.
Yeah.
Let's say we didn't make like tons of money on it,
Right.
but we were able to make something new.
But design in India, do you think like if you're not doing like cool luxury things, do you think it actually has money for things that you want to do?
I think luxury is in India is quite a confusing word
Okay.
because Zara is luxury for a lot of people.
Correct.
It's
I won't call it luxury, but premium for the mass.
but it's very comparative.
Correct.
Like, so what level of luxury or premium are you talking? Are you talking like premium?
No, but I'm talking is like what you feel about like the luxury market, right? What do you call luxury?
I think it depends on where I am and which space and who I'm talking to.
Okay.
Like, if I'm talking to you, right, about the sound systems and whatever.
Yeah. No, let me reframe the question.
Yeah.
Let me ask you what, say, top 5 people in culture and design in India, who do you feel like is the coolest in the market right now, who people are actually making a change?
Cool. I mean, there's a few people making... So again, it's not luxury though.
Right, sure.
Right? Like, I think Bharat Sekar is doing great work with his photography. Bharat
Sekar, right.
I think there's something really great about the way he looks at stuff, right? There's an Indian eye to it, but there's also like an international presentation to it, right? There's obviously the Studio Mumbai, as I mentioned, right, who do great stuff with the architecture.
What do you feel about like Indian brands, or when it comes to like more
You mean clothing and stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, Karu's doing great stuff,
Karu's
right?
doing great stuff.
Taking artisanal stuff
Yeah.
and pushing it out to international markets. I mean, there's so much happening with food,
Yeah.
right? Which I think is design in itself.
Correct.
You know, with like NAR and
Yeah.
there's so much happening
Yeah.
there as well. I'm trying to like cover different disciplines.
Sure.
So you can like sort of compare premium, what premium is according to me. Like, I wouldn't say, I don't know, who's like a very, I'm trying to think like a big like luxury furniture
It doesn't
manufacturer.
even have to be
like
like
River, the guys I'm working with.
Okay.
They're Indian-based furniture manufacturers.
Right.
They're doing great stuff, like
Yeah.
amazing like attention to detail,
Yeah.
but like ready to experiment.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a lot of brands like this, like River,
Who would
Essentia
be your dream collaboration in India?
in India.
Yeah.
Man, there's a lot of people. I think I also mentioned this in the talk.
Yeah.
Like, I think dream collaboration would be to convince like really old established houses,
Yeah.
like MDH or like Pittal,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh yeah. You mentioned.
yeah, like, or like an old potter, you
Yeah.
know, who does like the old pots for
Yeah.
houses, or who's like in the game, like soaps, you know.
Yeah. Like maybe brands from like Hindustan Unilever.
Exactly,
Right?
you know, convince them like, yo,
Yeah.
let's do a limited run
Yeah.
of, I don't know, something,
Yeah.
or whatever you think
Of
you're
like
comfortable in.
Lifebuoy.
Yeah, of like Lifebuoy.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
That'd be
Because this is
wild.
the shit you grew up with, right? Like the
Yeah.
ads.
Yeah.
You're like looking at these ads. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, ha ha ha,
See,
whatever.
you're in the space right now of you've reached a certain point in your career where you've met a lot of interesting people, met a lot of cool people. For people who are in India trying to make a difference, how do you feel like they should go about their journey? If you were in India, how would you go about the journey?
Bro, I think like similar. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't try and do something like completely different in London. You know,
Yeah.
it's just like talking to people,
Yeah.
being open to what they say. I think trying to communicate
Right.
well about like what do you want to do, what do you want from them.
Yeah.
You know, like
You
no,
feel
like
most
beating.
people aren't clear as to what they want to do.
I think that's also good.
Yeah.
Like the fact that I'm doing everything
Yeah,
is
yeah.
because I wasn't clear about the one thing I want to do.
Because you're a disciplined guy when it comes to like various disciplines, right? Like you actually have to like sit and think and make and like sit on the computer, come up with the designs, come up with like inspirations. You feel you have to be like, you have to let go of the distractions and you have to be focused in whatever you're
No,
doing.
man, distractions are good.
Yeah?
You know, like that's where you take inspiration from.
Right.
If I wasn't ever on like the amount of screenshots I take on Instagram
Yeah.
from like reels,
Yeah.
from like, you know, watching like a series and you're like, shit, man, that lamp is crazy. Or like,
Yeah.
I like the way that the blind closes in this office scene from Succession or whatever. You know, you're
It's
like,
also about how you look at the world.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's more it, right? I think, and that comes with traveling a lot and
Correct.
like reading a lot about
Yeah.
different cultures and
Yeah.
you know what they do and why they do it.
Yeah.
Because there's always like logic to everything,
Correct.
right? Like you look at Japanese architecture
Yeah.
and whatever these guys do,
Right.
like there's a lot of dedication and a lot of logic, right? And also a lot of passion to everything.
Yeah.
So I think knowing about those things and trying to look at things in that sort of eye changes you. And I don't know, you just like I wasn't like, okay, today I'm gonna like
Yeah.
fucking kill it. You know, it's just
Yeah.
like it's gradual, and you don't know when like you've started looking at the world differently, or when people think you started looking at the world differently. You know, like you never know when the switch is.
Correct. Because like again, like you're taking so much. There is so much in the world to like see and like take inspiration from. It's just about having that good eye.
Yeah,
And that's what I feel
Yeah.
like design is all about.
yeah, and it can be from like
Coming back to like what we initially started with, right? Like everything is inspired from
exactly.
something else.
Exactly.
And it's all about your perspective on that thing.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I'll tell you a little bit about the jewelry project.
Yeah.
It's like looking at Indian masks that they use during dances, and sort of converting them into really amazing pieces, right? And like, it was just like I was looking at them in a dance.
What do you mean by Indian masks?
You know, so like you have like tiger masks and like animal masks and like evil masks that a lot of the tribal dances and a lot of the traditional Indian dances use. So, and I was looking at them on a person while they were dancing.
Yeah.
And the sort of movement, and I was like, this is crazy. It's like, I was imagining somebody wearing it as a chain and like bouncing. And like, this is the way that, you know, like it's blinging and there's the colors and it was beautiful, right? And so I looked at the colors and the shapes and then the movement of these masks and the intensity. It's like, fuck it, this can be jewelry. This is what we're doing right now. You know, so like, I think it's just about looking at shit in different contexts and seeing what's up.
That's what I feel like. That's what design is all about.
Yeah. And I think that's what.
Anything interesting from your journey that you want to point out? Because you've had a very interesting journey when it comes to like being exposed to like different environments in the world.
Yeah.
You're doing the London Biennale.
Yeah.
Now, right?
So that's going to be 2025. Yeah.
Okay. What is that experience all about? What are you exactly doing there?
That's super interesting. I mean, what we're doing is creative direction for the entire Biennale.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
With Samuel.
Yeah.
So he got appointed as the creative director of an event, right? Which is great. So you set a theme. It's like, again, like, think of it as, let's say you're creative directing a very small, I don't know, water brand, right? It'd be the same process. And I think this is why we're able to think in different disciplines, because we follow a similar process, which works, right? You think about the main crux, the main idea, the main brief.
Right.
Obviously, typography, colors.
It's like a branding project.
Yeah, like a branding project, but not really, because yes, you do branding, which is the face surface level.
Correct.
Then you go into, you know, what it means, who interacts with it, who presents it, what community, building space out. You know, what is the shape of the bottle? What is the packaging looks like? Who are we inviting to the launch? Which people are the key elements or the key artists?
Right.
So there's, you know, it's like a similar way. So we're building out this whole sort of Biennale.
So for someone who's not an architect, like I'm super interested in the design space, right? Like, can you still be a huge design influence for the world, not having like a particular discipline?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, look at everybody, bro.
Right.
Like PG Lang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Donda. I don't know who that is.
Kendrick.
Okay.
Kendrick's label.
Okay.
Everything they put out.
Yeah.
Music, of course, amazing.
Yeah.
But like the merch they put out.
Yeah.
The visuals they put out.
Yeah.
Fire.
Yeah.
Kanye. Anything that he puts out from Donda.
Yeah.
Architecture, you know, like the fact that he worked with Terrell on like the, why am I forgetting it? The Sunday services.
Yeah.
Fucking amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Like, that's art, you know? So yeah, like, and this is what I was talking about, earning respect when we talked about the watch world, right? Like,
how do you make a distinction between the art world and the design world? Is there any distinction?
Well, I think when people ask me to make that distinction, the art world maybe is the very traditional art world where, you know, there's like auctions happening and then there's the old pieces and there's values and there's, you know, exchanges and whatever. Like, I think that's just a whole world which is almost untouchable and also is not fun.
Yeah.
It's fun if you have the money to play with. But, I think the new art world is the sort of design world.
Okay.
Because, you know, like, design is expensive as well, man.
Correct.
You can get some really expensive designer pieces.
Would you consider your pieces to be more art or more design, like the furniture collaboration, for example?
No, I don't think so.
No,
I don't want them to be art, because then like, then you lose like the element of sort of play and interaction. You know, like if I want you, if you get one of the couches that I'm making, right?
Which you will, I'm sure, which you will send to my office at some
Yeah,
point.
we'll see. But let's say you get the couch. It's a modular couch,
Okay.
right? So perfect for the office.
Yeah.
I tell you, you're like, bro, that's an art piece, man.
Yeah.
Careful.
Yeah.
Like shit, man.
Okay.
Careful.
Don't touch that shit.
Yeah, like I'll touch it, but like
Yeah.
careful. I can sit on it. I bought it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But tell you like, no, it's not art.
Yeah, it's all design.
man.
Yeah.
Then your friends come around.
It's more functional.
It's more functional. Your friends come around. You know, you're like, yeah, let's chill here. Let's like, we can drink on this. Yeah, chill there. Let's watch a movie. Blah blah. On this modular couch.
Yeah.
Arrange it how you want.
Yeah. One hot take on the art world in India.
I think it's in general. It's just like, it's being pushed by people who probably don't have much taste, right?
Yeah.
But that's just the world, man.
Yeah, no, okay,
You can't
no.
control that, I think.
Do you think it comes from a certain level of affluence?
Yeah, bro. Like money, of course, but
Yeah.
like money can't buy taste.
Exactly.
But like, I also know like some of my friends who collect art,
Yeah.
like big art,
Yeah.
who have amazing taste.
Yeah.
Right. And I think one thing is to collect art to collect art.
Yeah.
One thing is to collect art to show that you collect art, right?
Yeah.
And I think with like the whole Netflix shit and like you can see that. You know,
Exactly.
like I have this and I have that. Like
Yeah, I feel like that's what India is all about. Like it's all about like a signal, and that's why like it's a little demotivating as a designer and an artist, because everything at the end of the day becomes a signal, and it's the space doesn't remain interesting. Like it's all about like, and then you also start to perceive that world in a similar way. Like most of the people that I also feel like I'm surrounded with are more, hey, we're doing it because it's cool. We're not doing it because we relate to it.
yeah, I think it's true, and I think that's in control though.
Yeah.
That's like if you start getting influenced by celebrities and Bollywood and whatever, that's when you start giving a shit about it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't give a fuck if somebody comes up to me and like says like, hey, I need to have that because I'm blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck who you are, bro.
Yeah.
This is why like when you said who's the 3 most cool people you've been in, like I don't know, I've been in
You
a
don't give a fuck.
yeah, like
Who are the 3 most inspiring people that you've been in a room with?
so that's why I was like, there are a lot of inspiring people, like
Yeah.
people who've done, you know, amazing work. But maybe there's like too many to really name 3 right now. But that's why I took a take of who made me learn a lot in my life,
Right.
rather than who the cool 3
Yeah.
people I've been in a room with. You know, I've been in a room with like a lot of celebrities, a lot of like,
How do you go about pricing your furniture? Like how expensive or cheap is it?
it's on the higher end
Okay.
because it's hand woven canvas.
Okay.
It's metal which is naturally patinaed in the fields.
Okay.
And then it's also sort of all metal and
Yeah.
so it's really heavy and really nice details to it.
Yeah.
So it'll be a little expensive,
Okay.
but I'll tell you.
Okay, you tell me.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome, man. Armaan, this was fucking solid, like a solid learning for me. And
No,
I'm
man,
glad you were the
I hope it
first
wasn't
guest.
too serious.
Not at all, man. Like, we got to learn a lot about your journey from this episode. This was the first episode that we filmed for Nightcap with KSC Season 2. And you're the first guest. Say hello to the camera and the bye to the camera.
Ciao.
Yo. Peace.
My guy.
Yeah, bro.